Hey guys, so the next recipe we're going to go ahead and work on today is our peanut brittle. So I started off already by getting a baking sheet and make sure you butter it really well. If you don't want to do dishes, you can try lining it with foil and making sure that's really buttered as well. So set that aside. You're also going to need to measure out 1 1/3 cup of peanuts, unsalted, okay? Set that one aside also. Go ahead and get 2 different half-cup measuring cups, and you're also going to need 3 tablespoons of butter, okay? And use the stick of butter. A little trick that I want you all to know is when using corn syrup, since it's extremely sticky, it's good to spray the measuring cup because then it'll fall out a lot easier when you're pouring it, okay, into the saucepan, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out already. You need a half cup. Sometimes the container of corn syrup may already be pre-measured, like where it'll have a line saying that that's a half cup. If you get that, then you don't have to do this method. But since I don't have that, I went ahead and sprayed it, okay? So I have my saucepan. I also have my candy thermometer. I've already set it to where you can read the temperature between this metal spacing. Also, when holding it after it is hot already, make sure you hold it from this red ball since it's wood and it doesn't transfer heat the way metal and glass does, okay? Make sure that when you clip it, that it does not touch the bottom of the pan. And here, you can't see it that well, but it's not touching the bottom of the pan. Remember, if it does touch the bottom of the pan, then you're measuring the temperature of the pan itself and not the candy. And that's something that you don't want to happen, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on to medium-high heat. We are going to start off with adding the water and the corn syrup. So it needs to be a half cup of water. So I'm going to go ahead and get that first. And then dry it out because you're going to be using that same measuring cup for the sugar. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add my corn syrup already. You can try scraping all of it out if it all didn't come out with a silicone spatula. Okay. And then we're going to do a half cup of sugar at a time until we reach 1 1/2 cups of sugar. Okay. So this here is a non-crystalline candy. And in this case, you can stir until it does get dissolved. Go ahead and add another. So this is now 1 cup. Now I'll go ahead and add the last half cup of sugar. So we're waiting till it gets to a rapid boil, which means it's going to be big bubbles. And you're going to stir only until 280 degrees reached. And that is labeled on this yellow side. It's labeled as soft crack. Okay. And I know they name these things really weird, but yes, it's called soft crack. And then the final temperature it's supposed to get to is 304 degrees, which they label that as hard crack. Okay, it sounds like, you know, something inappropriate, but yeah, that's what you're looking for. So I'm stirring just until it's dissolved and I don't see any more sugar and I don't feel any more sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and stir only minimally, meaning just enough so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan or it burns onto the pan. So while I'm waiting for it to reach 280 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and then I'll restart it once it gets to that temperature. Okay, so you can see here that it is bubbling quite a bit, and I'm just moving it. I'm not stirring it. I just don't want to make anything burn to the bottom. Currently, this is at about 225 degrees, so it's not quite there yet, but I just wanted you to see how much it'll bubble up, okay? You also have to be sure to use a wooden spoon. If you use plastic, what's going to happen is it's going to melt. And then metal, we don't want it scraping the bottom, not metal on metal, okay? So wooden is the best thing because it also doesn't transfer heat the way metal would, okay? So I'll let you see what it looks like in a few minutes once it reaches 284 degrees, which is labeled as soft crack. Okay guys, so it is reaching that level of soft crack. So the next thing we're going to do is add in our interfering agent, which is the 3 tablespoons of butter. So I already had it measured. Make sure when you put it in that you like put it on the spoon and drop it in. So once you put the butter in, it's going to lower the temperature because it is an interfering agent, and then it's going to have to get hot all over again. Okay, hold the very end of the spoon just in case. You don't want it to splash up on you, because remember, this is where the 3rd degree burn can happen if it splatters or spills on you in some way. So the next thing that you're going to put in are the peanuts, and with the peanuts you do have to make sure that it doesn't get stuck to the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour those in. Okay. So what you're going to kind of do is move the peanuts around so it doesn't get stuck. Okay. The next temperature you're going to try to get it to is the 304 degrees. Okay. Okay. Make sure the thermometer stays in there. It's kind of getting stuck. So you would have to be extremely careful when doing this, guys. So the temperature dropped significantly. I'm going to move the thermometer so I can hold it with one hand. Okay, this is still hot. Okay. Okay. So it's going to have to reach to hard crack, which again is 304 degrees. You're just trying not to get the peanuts stuck to the bottom, okay? So don't stir too much, okay? Once it gets closer to that temperature, I'll go ahead and show you what's going on. Okay guys, it's getting much closer to 304 degrees. and it's the label on the right where it says hard crack is the temperature you're looking for it to get to. Be sure that you have your baking soda ready, and you also have your vanilla extract ready. Notice how it's turning this caramel color. That's what we're looking for, okay? So it is officially at hard crack. So we're gonna add the, let's see, baking soda and vanilla, okay? So you're gonna see a chemical reaction of CO2 form, which is going to be in the form of bubbles. And we're also adding the vanilla extract, half teaspoon also. And remember to do it slowly and carefully as to not spill any of it. Okay, because remember, organic acids have formed, and that's why we put baking soda to neutralize it. So you can see that it's turning that caramel color. And now we are going to, I'm going to set it here so it's not on the heat anymore. Carefully take off the thermometer because it is going to be hot. Again, don't put it in something cold right away. And then the next thing that we're going to have to do is quickly transfer it to our baking sheet. Okay. And you can see this is the final result, and you're going to let it cool. Once it hardens, you're going to break it into several different pieces. Okay, so as we wait for this to cool down, keep in mind that it is going to be hot because metal does transfer heat. So this is why I have hot plates to be able to hold on to it. A little trick with this one for cleaning, it is really hard to get this stuff off of it. So what I usually do is I fill this up with hot water, okay, and boil it for a little bit until all of the candy can come off easily. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to wash these dishes afterwards. Okay, so that's just a little trick for you all. I hope you enjoy the candy and you get to share it with family and friends. Okay, thanks guys.